This is great. It's landscape. All right. So
You're sideways.
does somebody say I'm sideways?
Yeah.
Normal, not full size screen. It should be okay. I mean, it should work. I know that if you tilt your phone, it should work for you guys too. We just kind of need to get, all right. So if we look weird to you, you might have to play around with your phone a little bit to get there. Normal, you're good. Hi guys. But I have to read like this, so that sort of makes it difficult.
We'll be sideways with you.
Yay. All right. This makes it look so much better. Scooch over a bit. Seeing this Periscope stuff is interesting. All right. Hi guys. All right. So we're here again for day 3 of our little series that we've been doing for spouses, because we've really been getting so much feedback from you guys that you just, here, I'll move over a little bit more, that you guys are just want ways to get your spouse involved. So, and Matt's going to read sideways while I talk for a little bit and filter questions. All right. So we were thinking, what can we bring you guys today that can really help you with getting your spouse on board and support and bigger picture? And so many spouses, what's the number one thing that they want to know when their wife signs up to be a Beachbody coach?
Money.
Show me the money, right? Every husband says you can do it, but you gotta show me the money. And of course, any business, any entrepreneur that you are, you don't necessarily see financial like that. It's not an instantaneous thing. So as we were sort of sitting here talking about what we wanted to talk to you guys about, Matt had a really great analogy, because I'm like, well, how do we talk about like potential and where you should be when you first start out and what you can expect in your business? And so, I started to talk about sales. Like a lot of my business started out with sales. And so, Matt, I'm going to let you had like this really great analogy. So you kind of talk about what your business looks like at the beginning.
Yeah. So I'm going to take this as from my perspective as looking in at what she was doing. As everybody knows, Beachbody doesn't guarantee any type of income, but as a lot of people are joining Beachbody and becoming that coach and learning the business and understanding, you really have 3 takes into the business. You have the sales side. So when you come in, your goals are more or less, you're trying to establish a business. So personal sales is really what's going to be driving it. So how many challenge packs you sell, how many, customers you're getting, how much you're attracting. Granted, it's still important all through the scheme, but that's really your starting point. So when you look at that, you're going to see that, and the more customers you build, the more, HD orders, all the other fun stuff that comes through, you're going to see your income just grow, which is fine, and that's going to be what the first
6 months to a year. I mean, I really personally, like, if you want to know what I did, I always said my personal goal was to be over 500 PV every single week, so that I knew I had a steady stream of customers coming into my business. So your business is customers at the beginning.
Yeah. And then, like I said, you're looking at, like I said, income's always going to vary, but you're going to see when you guys start to go into your second stage of your business is you go from converting your customers into the coaches. And at that time, I think we talked about this too. You actually see a little decline in income because you're not getting the customer commission. You're going to the volume, which is, the longer term effect that you're trying to grow in this business. It's not trying to repeat customers every single month and going out there and hitting the pavement. It's more or less.
You want to have customers, but then you want to have coaches. So like you were saying this morning, like you see this customer, and then when you start to transition a lot of people into coaches, you sort of see this just a little bit, because now you're not getting that monthly Shakeology order. You're trying to get them started on a business. So it transitions to volume. And then once you start training your coaches and they start to have some success, then Matt was like, oh, then it starts going back up again, right? Was kind of how you explained that progression. And I think that spouses kind of see this like dip, and they're like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing in your business that you're sort of going down? And that's just a natural part of building an organization.
Right.
Right. So, the one thing that we kind of said was, Matt's like, what do we do? We were thinking back to, okay, support. How do we get started? My first goal in the first 6 months was I started in July, it was to pay for Christmas in cash. And so if I take you back, like Matt was not supportive, not at all. So I was like, okay, I can prove that I can pay for Christmas. We don't have to put it on a credit card and pay it off for 6 months. Then that'll be my first milestone that I set for myself. And so for me, I was like, okay, I will delay the instant gratification of buying myself new clothes and new stuff and investing all this money into, other things. And I will just do the bare bones so that I can sort of prove that this money that I'm making, this time I'm investing, is worth it. So that was sort of our first big milestone. So we sort of set short-term goals, right, together. And we talked about this. And we didn't just set these big goals. So, and I can remember making $500 a week, $500 a week customer sales. And I can remember that my next big goal was to make $1,000 a week. And I was like trucking along, working as hard as I could within the first year to get to that mark of starting to grow my income. So, and that was, what is somebody saying?
How do they make their husbands make sales?
We talked about this yesterday. I'll let you answer that.
Watch yesterday's video.
Definitely. You can't make your husband do it?
Have them engaged, but don't make them involved. I mean, like I said, I don't go out and do sales.
No.
I mean, it's not me. It's probably what you want.
Yeah.
And it's a harder thing. Yeah, because the harder you push me to try that, even if she tries it now, the more I just go sit on the couch and do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the truth. It's the truth. I don't push him. Like, you see, he understands what's going on because I've involved him in different ways. But if I was to ask Matt to sign up a coach and get them started right, he wouldn't know what to do. Actually, quite honestly, I did sign Matt up a coach, and I said, did you send him a welcome email? And he was like, what's a welcome email? Like, you're supposed to do that.
Like, she has.
You do it, right? So, that's my job in the business. But he knows. When he talks about financials, he knows it. That's his role. So yeah. All right. So we started with like short-term goals, and then once we paid the Christmas, I think I gained a little credibility in Matt's eyes, a little bit, just a tiny bit. So what do we do next?
We kind of, like I said, we didn't really carry a lot of credit card debt. I mean, I was happy she was paying her Shakeology off, which I didn't have to worry about. And like I said, when she did go out and spend a couple of dollars on the kids and for some new clothes for her, credit card came, we transfer money from her account into, our personal, which then we just paid other credit cards off by month. And that was kind of what we did for the next probably 3 to 6 months after Christmas. And then that's when we kind of sat down and just kind of looked at the overall plan of, what do we still have out there? Everybody has some form of debt. Somebody's always either trying to use it for pay, or if they're going for more, savings, or vice versa. And I always take the conservative, because I, at the beginning, always looked at this business as being, well, it's here today, it might be gone tomorrow. And that it was more or less of, take it while it lasts, have fun with it. We're going to do what we need to do. And if we can stockpile some money, then that's what we're going to do. And we did. And that was where we started setting some other goals and looking at, okay, Mel, before she quit her job to be a stay-at-home parent, she went back and got her master's. So we ended up sitting on a ton of school loans that we're sitting here looking at. All right, we're making the minimum payments on it. We're doing that. And that was one of the fun things that we were able to knock off,
right away, was our student loans.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying, like, you went and got this education and you're not even using it. You're doing nothing with this master's degree. And it was definitely a sore spot in our marriage. But guess what? I could have taken a lot of that money that I made as a Beachbody coach, and I could have said, this is my money. I think this is something else we really did together. This is not Melanie's money. This is not Matt's money. We don't have two separate bank accounts. Everything goes into one. And what I do is in Beachbody is our money together. So I'm not going out here and just saying, okay, I get to decide how this money gets spent. We together have a discussion where this money goes. So now Matt is vested in the business. He sees that it's paying off the bills. It's paying off debt that we have. And so, of course, he's more supportive. He sees that his responsibility of helping me with some of the things that, like doing laundry and making dinner or getting the kids a bath, it's a vested interest because we know that the money's coming in and that we're able to pay off some things. So it's a we thing. It's not a my thing and a his thing. It's an us together thing.
And I hear a lot of coaches say, oh, well, I have my own money and nobody knows. And that's one of the bad parts too. It's like, oh, I don't know how much my wife makes in Beachbody. And you're like, okay, well, to me, that's a little bit of that, that's that trust in both of you. I mean, if you're not communicating to your spouse or vice versa, how much, how would you feel if you didn't know how much your husband made a week because you didn't care or you didn't support him for what he did?
Right.
It goes back and forth both ways. And like I said, that might just take some tension out of it. Say, hey, you know what, here, or, do something fun with it. Like I said, and that can be part of your plan too. Don't just say debt is it. Everybody handles things differently. Instead of that, maybe say, let's go out to dinner, my treat tonight. And it's one of those stupid little things, but it's just like, boom, it means a lot. And just say, hey, I paid for the babysitter and I got that, let's roll.
Yeah.
Little things, because it's that fun stuff. And maybe you don't even talk Beachbody at dinner. There's a lot of times that I just say, I don't want to hear about Beachbody again today. It's like, I hear you from out of the room all the time. So, take that for granted too.
Yeah.
The
other thing too is I gave Matt like the logins and passwords to my account, and he would go in and pull my volume or my commissions and my earnings and would trend out my business. Like, hey, Melanie, do you know that you've increased your income by this %? And he's a numbers guy. So if your spouse is a numbers guy and that's what they do, like, he can tell me that. He can tell me my percentage of increase or where I'm at. So he can project what kind of money we'll be making at the end of the year or at the end of next year. And it provides, that's his role, is to see the trends and to sort of analyze where we're at with our business. It helps him to understand a little bit more what's going on in my business too. What was the other thing? Let's see, responsibilities are shared. I think we talked about that. I think bottom line is, Beachbody doesn't guarantee a certain amount of income, guys. But if you work at this together and you plan it right and you use each other as a team unit, you can really do well with this if you support one another. It takes time, like 2 years, guys. 2 years we've worked at this communication. We've worked at coming up with a plan. Like, if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm struggling with the support, it's not going to change the first time you try to say, let's do this together, right? I got a lot of pushback from Matt, no matter what. It was a gentle, we constantly had to work on it until we got there, until we figured it out. But talking finances with your spouse is important. They need to see the money. Honestly, that show me the money is really it. They need to be able to see that in order to see the long-term benefits.
I think too, like if you go back and look in the back office, they have like a projected, like if you're a diamond, you have an estimated range. And those are good things for your husband to sit down and look at too. And it's like, and they go through the different tiers and give you a little bit of explanation. It's not a lot of detail, but like I said, it's good for other people to see. And like I said, if you can get people,
you get hearts, a lot of hearts on this one.
If you, take them to an event, I know they're going to scratch, crawl, cry. Beg them, throw them a bone at the end of the day or something like that to get in there, just so he gets an understanding to talk to some people. Cause it's good support just from the husband standpoint too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And, when we go to events, and I know we're sort of like shifting a little bit, but when we go to events, Matt doesn't stand in a corner and just stand there and with his arms folded. He actually talks and finds a way and introduces himself and asks questions to other husbands. So, and now, so that was the starting point where he was sort of asking questions and understanding. And now his role is sort of to do that for other husbands. So when we do events, we talk ahead of time, and I'll say like, so-and-so is a great coach. They're doing a great job. You talk to their husband, make sure that they know how awesome that their wife is and what her potential is in the business, so that he kind of man to man can talk to them about what's going on, and understand that about the business side of things too.
And guess what?
Throw them a bone. Yeah, that is the truth.
There is alcohol typically involved in Beachbody events. So it's one of those things, if your husband is a little bit shy, or, a beer or two actually helps take down some walls and things like that too. So, that's practically the start of mine of the MGM Grand Pull with a bunch of guys and a huge bar tab at the end of the day. And that was probably one of my best days there. So
what's the one thing you wish you knew and realized in the beginning?
That this was a real business. That's the truth. It was, I've been fortunate. I know I met John. I know Carl. We're not best buddies. I don't know anything that nobody else knows, but just their passion and drive. I've been around other big CEOs before and kind of get their vision and passion. And these guys are gung-ho. I mean, their pipeline's going to be fun. They're creative, and they're motivated.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part. I mean, I always, like I said before, I said, all right, this is going to be a 1-year thing for you. I mean, Beachbody is going to be around. I mean, like I said, who knows how long? I mean, nobody has an idea of how long anything's going to last. I mean, there's a lot of jobs, Fortune 500 companies, that you're here today, gone tomorrow. So, I mean, what's the difference between this business that you get to work out of your own home, make your own hours, practically you dictate your own income by how you work? You can't really beat that. I mean, especially if you don't have to commute to work or do other things. And those are just, I mean, those are longer term things, but you have the opportunity to create your own path. And that's the fun and exciting part about it.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Are there any videos that you have watched that help your view on the business? You don't really watch videos. It was actually going to the events. It was
go to Super Saturday.
Yeah, go to Summit. I would say our first and the Elite 10 trip. We're very blessed that I've been able to go to the Elite 10 trips and sit and talk to John and Carl. And that, I would say, when we went to Italy 2 years ago, John and Matt, and there was a couple of other, John Congdon, we actually sat and talked about like the 7-year business plan. And we talked about the vision, and Matt was like, wow. You know, at that point, he was still working his job. He still was in the corporate world. And that sort of helped us to say, all right, like, wow, there's even more planning. There's more vision. And and coming from the businessman was like, all right, you know, this is good stuff. This is what I need to hear. So Carl has some videos that he's done from some of the things that if you go to his YouTube channel, he has one on his Beachbody Up Pyramid. He's got all sorts of videos. So that's where I would look video-wise. But anything you want us to talk about, we're happy to talk about. So that's fine. Any other questions? We hope this was helpful. I've been sharing them on my business page. It's Committed to Getting Fit. So I've been uploading these and just kind of putting them on there kind of in the raw. But let's see, what is the next Super Saturday you recommend I bring my spouse to? If you can come to Pittsburgh Super Saturday, you should come. We're going to have Executive Vice President Jeff Hill here. Matt's going to be there. A lot of the other husbands are going to be there. Oh, I didn't tell you this. Well, yeah, you're definitely going. But in Pittsburgh, they sometimes tailgate before Super Saturdays. And since we're doing black and gold, we thought about doing a cookout. We haven't finalized that yet. But that might be, but I would definitely bring your spouse if you can come to Pittsburgh, come hang out with us. We're actually going to go out afterwards in the city, which you don't know that either, but we are, but he's cool with that because he likes to hang out and have a few beers. Right. So anyways, but yeah, go to events, go to Pittsburgh Super Saturday, get to the 2-Star Leader Conference. If you're a new coach, go to that kind of stuff. But those are the events, any training events, just bring your spouse, host get-togethers with your team and their husbands to kind of get people going too. What does it say?
I
don't know.
One.
I missed it
Sideways
too.
Sideways is tough.
I know it is. Hey, hi, Courtney.
So.
All right. All right, guys. So check us out. Oh, drop us a line on what you want us to talk about. We have 2 more days left. We will be bringing you more Periscopes, and we'll get this uploaded for you guys later today. All right, everybody.